Next up, what we have is a live debate about CICD alternatives from Almir and Jamit. So let me bring them onto screen here. So we got Almir, we've got Jamit. Fantastic.
Hello.
Hello.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. So what we're going to be talking about today is getting into CI/CD alternatives. As I said, it's going to be AWS CodePipeline versus GitHub Actions. So as it said, we've got two serverless experts that are going to be facing off. Yeah, with that, I think what we can do is we can probably open up a round of intros. Almir, do you want to start off, give a background?
Yeah, so basically what we are going to talk about today is, as you mentioned, are two alternatives to deploy your code on AWS. So Jamit is going to talk about GitHub Actions, and he's going to show us how things are easy to set up there, how to deploy your code, and then I will show you exactly the same workflow with the CI/CD pipeline built with the AWS Code Pipeline and AWS Developer Services. So it's going to be the same outcome, same thing, but with different tools. And then we will debate a little bit. Jamie will show why GitHub Action rocks, what's great about the GitHub Actions. I will try to counter that with the code pipelines, giving you the reasons why you should use that on a project. And then finally, at the end, hopefully you will be able to decide which tool better fits your project requirements. And that's about it. So Jamie.
Yeah, so let me kick off this ring and let me share my screen.
Oh, real quick, Jamie, do you want to give a background about yourself? Real quick.
Yeah, sure. I will add as a part of that slide. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Yep. All good.
Yeah. So today, as Almir give a background, we have a CI/CD alternative barrels. I will talk on GitHub Actions counter to the code pipeline Almir talking about. Serverless Guru help company innovate faster, reduce operational overhead, and streamline application development by using serverless technology. So if you have anything serverless Guru always here for you. About me, I'm Jamit. I'm serverless developer at Serverless Guru, AWS community builder, and serverless and technology enthusiastic. Always happy to create the contents. So I'm always sharing stuff on LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. So you can follow me if you want. Today's agenda, I will start with GitHub Actions. So I will thoroughly give audience idea about what is exactly the GitHub Action, how GitHub Actions work compared to the AWS Code Pipeline. Almir will talk about. I will also give idea about what are the different components of GitHub Action. Then we have some demo how we will deploy SAM serverless application to the GitHub Action by using GitHub Actions, and then we will take it forward. So for now, I'm starting with the GitHub Action, and then we will have a code pipeline things as well. So first thing is, what is GitHub Actions? Most of we see like nowadays, a lot of project source code already hosted onto the GitHub.com repository. So that is why the GitHub Actions are already giving a great developer experience, and it is always rock when you have if you have a repository already hosted on GitHub.com. So GitHub Action always help to automate, customize, and execute your software development workflow right within your repository in the GitHub.com. So it is not just providing a CI/CD workflow solution, but there are a lot of different kind of custom workflow you are able to implement easily, quickly, with great developer experience without need of any DevOps work within a GitHub Actions by using GitHub Actions. So this is just a basic idea about the what is exactly it and how GitHub Actions works. So if you have a repository in the github.com, so that will be a Git repository. So there are, as we know, like in core part of Git, whenever we have a Git repository, they are already giving us a lot of hooks, right? So hooks is kind of like GitHub turn into that event. So as soon as some event occurs on your repository, or you have a GitHub repository, so as soon as some event occur on your repository, say for example pull request or some push request or some issue or created or something, like some kind of those kind of event occurs, it will trigger different workflow. So that workflow will have a multiple jobs. Like here I represent like two jobs, job 1 and job 2. So as soon as some event occurs, it will trigger the jobs, and those jobs will run on runner. So there are in single, say for example in single workflow we have two jobs. So those two jobs will run on different runner 1 and runner 2. Runner here, so this runner is means like a GitHub server. So that will execute these different jobs, and every jobs will have a different steps, and steps will have some actions or a script, shell script. So in next steps I will show in detail like how these components are working. So these are the different component of the GitHub action. So whenever you have a repository, say for example you have multiple team member working on your GitHub repository in github.com, and if you want to implement any kind of workflow, like you want to implement CICD pipeline, or if you want to implement some different kind of workflow, then you only it is a really great developer experience. No need to do any DevOps work. Only within your GitHub repository, just you need to create .github/workflow folder, and you just need to put this. You just need to put the YML file. That's it. So in that YML file, you need to tweak the things as per the workflow you need. So here I given an idea about different component of the GitHub action workflow YML file. So generally, whenever you are creating any YML file within .github workflow folder, that will have a name of your workflow, and then it will have some event. And as soon as those events trigger, so here I just given a basic example of as soon as some event occurs on, say for example, push event occurs on main branch, or a pull request event occur on main branch, it will trigger these jobs. So this is a like workflow is a complete these things, and event is particular event occur on the GitHub repository, and it will trigger these jobs. And there in within a one workflow there are multiple jobs, like unit testing, then we have a build and deployment, those kind of things. So here I just represent one jobs to demonstrate what is exactly the job is, and job will have a multiple steps. And if a single job will run on particular one runner, if you have multiple jobs, it will run on different runner. So you are also able to run job sequential or a parallel as you want. Depends on your workflow needs. So here I just represent like runner means I am taking like Ubuntu latest. So there are it is also possible to run different platform or a different OS like Windows or Mac OS or anything. And here I just represent steps, like what exactly the steps is. Steps means like within a particular step there are multiple actions, so you are able to run some shell script command, or you are able to run actions. Actions means like it is a kind of reusable workflow, so that if you have some workflow you implemented that is reusable, then you are able to use that as an action within a GitHub Actions. There are a lot of ready to use workflow available in GitHub Action Marketplace, so that we are easily able to like deploy application to AWS ECS, or we are easily able to deploy application to Azure. Even we are able to deploy application on GCP, or as per our need we are able to implement many different kind of workflow. Apart from CI/CD, there are possible to implement other kind of workflow as well. So this is just a basic idea about what is exactly the GitHub action. Before I will go for the demo, I want to invite Almir in the ring to talk about what is exactly the code pipeline is.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Jamit. That was an awesome presentation to GitHub Actions. So now we are going to talk about the AWS code pipeline. So first of all, I want to say thank you to Serverless Guru for organizing this whole day event, this Serverless Day, and this is awesome. So about me, my name is Amir Zulic. Among other things, I'm a senior serverless developer and a member of AWS Community Builder Program. Today, I am going to talk about a little bit of the AWS Developer Tools. I'm going to show you how Code Pipeline works. So we are going to build, as I mentioned in the introductory part of this talk, that how we are going to build the same thing that Jamie built with the GitHub Actions. And in the demo, we will show you the exact same outcome with the different tools. And that's going to be part of our demo. And after that, we will do a little bit of the debate, which one is better, which one is better in certain use cases. And then we have a slide with some useful resources, as well as the link to a source code repository and some links to some useful articles that you can use if you want to dig deeper into the subject. And if we have time at the end, we will do a QA session. If not, then we will be happy to answer any of your questions on the Twitter. So just feel free to ask. So what kind of services we can find in AWS Developer Tools? So let's start with code commit, and this service is managed. Is a managed version control system. So it's basically managed Git. You are probably familiar with the GitHub or Bitbucket or any similar services, and the code commit is exactly the same. If not the same, it's pretty similar. It's just integrated into the AWS services, and among other things, well, of course, you can use it to manage your source code on AWS, and then you can also you can utilize you can exploit that integration with the AWS services and manage your users with the IAM. So that's a nice thing about the code commit. Another service that I want to mention is code build, and it's also part of the developer tools. And this is a fully managed continuous integration service. And this service compiles your source code, it runs tests, and it produces software packages that are ready to be deployed. So basically, it produces artifacts from your code and passes it to the next stage. And what are these stages? We're going to find out in one of the next slides. So in our demo, we will utilize this service to test and deploy our project. So another service that we are not going to use in the demo, but I want to mention is AWS Code Deploy. And this is my favorite from the AWS Developer Tools because this is a fully managed deployment service. Fully managed means, of course, that it's serverless, like all other services that we are talking about right now. It helps you to automate your software deployments and deploy them to compute services, like, for example, EC2 instances. Well, you can do that, but we are not going to deal with that right now because we are all serverless. So you can also use Code Deploy to deploy your services to compute services such as AWS Lambda, or even on the containers, or maybe you want to deploy on premises. But we will focus on Lambda in this talks. And nice feature that you have, the built-in feature that you have in this AWS Code Deploy is that you can implement common deployment practices, so common deployment strategies like blue-green deployments, canary deployments, and so on. So this is a built into the service, and it's really nice thing to use. Then there is a AWS Code Pipeline, obviously, which is the subject of this talk. And what AWS Code Pipeline is, we will talk in the next slide. But I will just say it automates the build, test, and deploy phases of your release process. So every time that code changes. So what this means, this is actually orchestration service. It orchestrates your continuous integration and continuous delivery, continuous deployment process. So it orchestrates your CI/CD process. So let's talk about how Code Pipeline actually works. And before we do that, let's just say that what is a software release process. So we can describe software release process as a series of steps taken from writing code until the application reaches the production stage. So our code flows through these steps. And so therefore we can describe this flow as code going through the pipeline. And that is exactly what this image that you see on the screen presents. It's shamelessly stolen, of course, from the AWS, but it's such a great image, and it has all the phases that we want to talk about. Our software release process starts with the source stage, and the code pipeline consists of the stages and the actions. So each stage must have at least one action. In our demo, we will show one action per stage. Obviously, you can have multiple actions, but for the sake of simplicity, we will keep single action per stage. So let's start with the source stage, and in this stage, this is where developers are committing their changes. So they commit their source to some kind of the repository, and Code Pipeline supports various sources. So you can have your source on a code commit, or you can have your source code on a GitHub, or maybe on a Bitbucket, and you can even have it on the S3. So you can upload your source to. You can utilize S3 versioning. You can upload your source code to the S3, and S3 can trigger this source section. So once our source code is ready, our release process starts. So we are moving to the build stage, and here in this section we will actually run build process. And so how this build process is it required or not, and how it's going to look like, it highly depends on which language you are using. So if you're using JavaScript, then there is no build step. But there is if you are using TypeScript, like if you need to do if you need to transpile your code, or if you're doing compiled languages, this is the place where you are going to compile your code and produce the artifacts. So in this stage also, because we already mentioned that code build can compile your code and it also runs the tests. So here we can run our automated tests. We can test our code. And if all goes well, we can move to the next stage. Otherwise, pipe will be broken, pipeline will be broken, nothing will happen. But let's say that everything went well. We are moving to the next stage. And the next stage is actually deployment to the environment. And the best practices are always that you have that multiple environments. So you probably will have more than two, not just more than one, but more than two. But in this example here, we are showing the staging environment, and we are using continuous deployment strategy. So what this means is whenever you merge something into the target branch, merge PR or push code directly to that branch, we will trigger the store stage, we will build and test our code, and then we will deploy it to the staging. So this happens without any intervention of the user or a developer. So it continuously deploy code once it's merged into the repository. So with the production, we have to be more careful. So we don't want to deploy to production each time we change something on our repo. So we need to take a little precaution. So we want to have manual approval, and we want to have a user with the elevated privilege who will approve this deployment to the production. So at this point, so after the staging, we can have code built, tested, and ready to be released. But it's up to us and our policy: are we going to release it, or we are going to wait for something? But once we are ready, we can even reject. We can just reject, and it's not going to be deployed. We can wait for the next iteration and then release the next version and so on. So once the code is deployed to the production, customers are happily using it, and then they might have some ideas. Maybe they will have some feature requests. They will unfortunately find and report bugs, and this coming back to developers who are making changes, adding features, fixing bugs, and then they are committing their code. They're pushing it again to the repository, and this process continues. And this is about this is our continuous delivery CI/CD process. So what's worth mentioning here is that Code Pipeline is perfectly describing this process. So you can visualize this process and you can add these stages. And as I mentioned, so for the source stage, we are going to use GitHub in our demo. On the build stage, we are going to use code build. We will actually have two phases where we use code build. So we will have stage where we will have test stage where we run unit tests. And we are going to use exactly same application. It is a SAM serverless application, some APIs with the Lambda proxy. Another stage will be deployment phase, where we will actually deploy our application. So also the code pipeline is very extensible. You can create your custom actions, but that's not also subject of this call because there are like too many things, and it will not fit into this call. So what I'm going to talk about a little bit now is a code build service. So code build service is configured with the YAML file. So you saw this. You saw YAML configuration in Jamie's talk when he showed you how you can use this file to describe GitHub Actions. Here in the code build, you can use YAML file. It's by default it's called build spec, but you can change this name whenever you need it. So I will just refer it per its default name. So build spec file is basically a collection of build commands and related settings. So what you can do with and it is divided into the different phases. So we have install phase, we have a pre-build phase, build phase, post-build phase. Of course, you can put. It's up to you which one you are going to use, and you can fit everything into the single phase. But you don't want to do that. You want to make clear separation. This because this is that's why this is a nice thing to have. And there are a couple of more options that I'm not showing in this file. I just wanted to show you the basics, and I want to emphasize some important things. And that is for example, integration with the AWS services. So for your deployment, you will probably need some credentials, or you will need to have some settings. Obviously, you don't want to push that to your software repository, wherever that is, and you want to keep your secrets secret. So you can keep your secrets in AWS Secrets Manager, and if you need that secret during the build process, you can add it to your you can reference it in your environment as environment variable, and also you can keep your app settings in Systems Manager parameter store, and there also you can reference it as an environment variable. So this is great thing to have. So each phases has the same attributes. So I'm just showing here some attributes in the install phase, but these attributes can also be, you can put this into the other phases as well. So that's why I put just this comment that same as previous. So here, what does it mean to have fine-grained access control? So in your build container, in your environment, if you're running Linux, for example, you can use different users for different phases. So maybe for install phase, you need a different privilege than during your build phases, and when accessing something, you want user with the less privilege. So all that can be configured here. So build commands are just an array of commands that you can execute to build your code, and you will see that in the demo session. So there is also this nice thing about on failure attribute, where you can what happens if some of the commands fails. So if it fails, you can either continue or abort the process. So most of the time you will probably want to abort the process, but there are some use cases where you will want to continue no matter what happens. And then there is this finalize attribute. So this will always run. So what that means is that either your commands fails or are executed successfully, this finalize step will be executed anyway. So before we jumped into the demo, I intentionally haven't mentioned the AWS CodeStar Service. even though it's on this in this slide. So CodeStar Service helps you to quickly bootstrap your project. So you can create create project, and I will show you that in the demo just quickly when we start. You can basically create your for example Alexa skill project with the CICD prepared. The reason why I put this abandoned here with the question mark is because this service has been announced in like 5 years ago, and I haven't seen much development. But if you want to have a quick start, you can you probably want to know that this exists, and you can try it out. So that being said, I will pass the ball to Jamie, and thank you for listening. And Jamie, show us what GitHub Actions can do.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for passing over. Let me Almir given the idea about how the CI/CD flow work with the pipeline. So let me show it in actions how GitHub Actions can get it done quickly. In this presentation, as we previously see this workflow, you just need to do one YML file within a .github workflow file, and that's it. So in this demo, I will quickly show like how the things work. Like say generally in the project there will be a GitHub repository, and someone create an issue and assign to the contributor. So as soon as we are working on some new feature, we will create some feature branch from main branch, and as soon as we are done with those work, we will just create a pull request into the develop branch, and we have some code review, and then if everything good, we will merge that pull request to the develop branch. So it will auto trigger the CI/CD GitHub Actions pipeline, and that GitHub Action pipeline workflow will do unit test, build, and deploy. So here we will see these this in action, like auto deploy. As soon as someone merge the feature branch into the develop branch, it will auto deploy to the dev, and we will also see how the manual deployment work as a part of production deployment. So this is a one GitHub repository we already set up here, and in this repository we already have I already check out this repository in my local itself. So this repository having already in this particular, if we see code level that we are going to deploy SAM application, like we have a few APIs like get all item, get by ID, and put item APIs that is doing some DynamoDB operations. So this API is implemented in SAM framework, and we are going to deploy this application by using GitHub Actions for just demonstration purpose. So I'm not going much into this application detail, but we have this thing set up, and within this .github folder, we have a workflow folder, and within that workflow folder we have tier 2 workflow, deploy to dev and deploy to production. So if we have like before I am jumping into this explanation of this particular workflow, let me show here in the GitHub UI. In github.com, if you have a repository over there in the GitHub, if you want to set up any GitHub action workflow, you need to go in action. So here I already have some workflow setup like deploy to dev and deploy to production, and some custom action demo. But if you did not have a setup this, then in that case you will not see this screen. You have this new workflow button. So as soon as you do workflow, that this GitHub action have a nice things like they are easily discovered the relevant workflow to your code base. Like if you have a Node.js code, or if you have a Java code or any other code, based on your code base in the repository, it will auto discover some suggestion for the workflow. So you are easily able to bring particular workflow. There are also simple workflow available, like which we see before, like this simple workflow. So you are easily able to start with some simple workflow, like you can choose some simple workflow. Here you can see like some this event occurring. So you can modify this, like if you want to do some event operation based on push or pull request, you can do like this manual workflow, and then some jobs. You are even able to add any actions from this marketplace. Like here you are easily able to search different actions from the marketplace, and you are easily able to copy those kind of things in your final workflow file you are building. Okay, so this kind of there are a lot of actions available ready to use action available from the community. So you can see like there are deployed to Azure, and then there are same way like there are AWS relevant actions also available, like you can deploy to Amazon ECS. These are default, but AWS also providing different workflow, different GitHub Actions ready to use. Same way, many different third party like Azure, GCP, and all those are and many other third party provider for a different workflow. Like if you want to send some Slack notification to the some channel, those kind of things also we are able to do. So a lot of things possible to implement as a part of workflow. But here we are seeing like CICD pipeline, like how this deploy to dev and deploy to production happening as a part of this demo. So here I have already created these two demo deployment workflow, deploy to dev and deploy to prod. So as a part of this only, I just created two workflow.github workflow. We have a deploy to dev. So in this particular deploy to dev, I have put this actions. So as soon as someone push the changes to the develop branch, it will trigger this workflow deploy to dev. And this is just a permission we set just to read operation on the repository, just a security purpose. And here we are triggering some jobs, like as soon as this event occurs, we are triggering these jobs. We have two jobs for now, just demonstration purpose. It will do the unit testing, and at the end, if unit testing, this unit testing job is if a success, then it will trigger deployment, like build-in deployment. And you can see like this deployment job is dependent on unit tests. So we set here needs. So we are running sequential job instead of default. It is running parallel. So as soon as unit test job is success, then it will trigger the deployment job. So this needs is for just a sequential purpose. So this unit testing, so as a part of this job, we are doing different steps. So this first step is like a common step generally required in any kind of workflow, like action checkout. So this action checkout, and here in whenever we are using any actions, so in that case we are just giving version, like specific version if you want to use. So this will just check out your repository code into the runner workspace, like GitHub Actions runner workspace, and so that we are able to do different operation on that particular code. So this generally this checkout actions always required. This thing is just for setting up the Node.js specific version. This action is for setting up the Node.js, and then we have this some operation for caching Node.js module, so we need not need to do build every time. And here we just doing like npm install and doing test running test cases. Okay, so as soon as test cases success, it will go to this build these jobs, and this job will run on separate runner. You can see we are using this Ubuntu latest. We are able to use Windows or Mac OS, or that is supporting by the GitHub. Even we are able to create a custom runner as well if we want. Here I also same way, like here we are checking out repository, and we are doing this Node.js building operation, and then at the end we are installing dependency, and here we are just doing main thing, this SAM deploy. So before doing SAM deploy, we are using this AWS actions, like this is AWS action setup SAM, because we want to deploy SAM application. So this step is important for us. Like here we are setting SAM CLI. So this AWS action, SAM setup SAM will set up the AWS SAM CLI, and this another action. This is AWS action. So this AWS action configure AWS credential. So we for doing SAM deployment and build, we need this AWS credential. So I already set up one IAM user. Those we are passing those detail here. So that those detail we are setting in the setting secret manager. So in setting of your repository, admin user can go to the secrets, and in action admin user able to set this repository level secrets. So these are the AWS access key and secret key we are storing at repository level secrets. So those we are accessing here as a part of this AWS action of configuring AWS credential. So that will give us some access to create a cloud formation resource during deployment. And so as a part of this step, like we are doing SAM build and SAM deploy. So we are creating stack stage wise, like production and development. So this is just an idea about SAM way for production. We have this SAM step, but what is here different is like we have also created environment. In this action, we have this environment like production and dev. So we associated this environment with particular deployment steps. Like here we have a dev environment associated, and this for production deployment we have this for production deployment we have associated environment of production. And also this for production flow cases, we are passing the stage, like we are setting this environment variable, that is we are passing stage production. So during SAM deployment, we are creating a stack name accordingly, like dev or production. And also we have this workflow. You can see like deploy dev workflow triggering automatically as soon as someone push changes on dev branch. But this deploy to production workflow will trigger only manually. So here we using that workflow dispatch. So that means it will trigger manually. And here we have associated environment production with the deploy in the production workflow. Why? Because in production workflow, we set this restriction. So in GitHub action, we are able to create different environment like prod, dev, or staging, whatever we want. So here I created dev and production, and in production environment, I put some restriction, like we are able to do environment protection rule. Like I added a review required. So whenever someone deploy to production environment, that need to approved by these users. Like I given permission to me and Alvin. So this user only able to approve those deployments to the production. Without that, it will not deploy. Same way, I also added branch level restriction. Like you are able to only deploy this particular branch to a production environment. So those kind of restriction we are able to do at environment level. And this environment option only available if you have a public repository or if you have a GitHub Enterprise version. If in private repository without GitHub Enterprise version, this option is not available. Okay, so this is just we are associating those environment with particular jobs so that it will restrict when we do. So this is just an idea about those code level workflow files. So let's see in the action. And now I'm into the action, and I already have this code ready. And let me just create one new features just for a demonstration purpose. So at the moment I am in master main branch. So I am going to one task feature branch. So I am creating some changes. I'm doing some changes in this repository. I mean, I from main branch I created one new branch. Say for example, feature/task1. So for a demonstration purpose, I am doing some changes in this particular code base. Okay, so for now, say for example, in get all items, I am just changing one line just for a demo purpose. So as soon as I will change and push the changes and create pull request, after merge it should trigger the deployment flow. So here I am just changing, just for a demonstration purpose, I am just changing few things in this particular API. So I am just committing this file. Okay. So here I am just pushing those changes to the task one. So I am just pushing those changes to the task one, whatever changes I done. So now I am going to pull request. If you can see action, so far there are yesterday's action, so no any actions today. So we will see that in action. So I have already pushed my changes in task one, feature/task one. So now I am creating pull request from task ones to develop branch. Okay. This is I just done one line change. So I'm just creating a pull request. Even during creating a pull request, you are able to add the reviewer. Um, uh, as a part of creating pull request, here you are able to add the reviewer if you want to add someone from your collaborator team, like contributor team. So once they do the review, like they are, if you add as a reviewer, they will just open this pull request and they can do code review. If they go to the file, they are able to do the review and approve it. Right now I am owner, so I am not able to approve, but reviewer will do the approval for this particular pull request. So as soon as they will do approve and merge this pull request, so let me merge it. Okay, so this is just merged into the develop branch, so it should trigger this pipeline. You can see this pipeline is just triggered now. So right now in my cloud formation, there are only these two stack. So it will create a new stack for a SAM application for a 3 APIs. So this is running. So if you can see like unit testing is already success and deployment is currently running. In unit testing, these are the different steps run which we already see in the code level before. In that particular deployment flow, like we see this different step, unit testing and all. So this unit test run, and in test cases, all test cases are passing. If any test case will not pass, like if any test case will fail, it will not go to the deploy step. Right now all the test cases pass, so it is go to the deploy step. And this deployment is also showing us like all the details. Even we are able to search out the any logs if we want. We are able to view any different logs from this particular all the steps are running. So right now SAM deployment is running, build, and then it will deploy it. Okay, so it will take few minutes. And once it will done, meanwhile let me create the pull request to the main branch from my develop. So from my develop, I am creating pull request to main branch. So these new changes will go from develop to main branch. I am merging those changes. So this develop changes is already merged to main branch, but it will not trigger this production deploy to production workflow because we put it manually. We given this event like workflow dispatch, so it means that it will we are only able to trigger that manually. Okay, so let me meanwhile this job is running, let me trigger this. I think it's about to finish. Okay, so meanwhile this action running, let me trigger this prod deployment. For deploying to production, we are running this workflow manually, so we need to run workflow. So I am doing that workflow running, so it will show here as soon as it will run. So this deploy to production is triggered. Here you can see unit testing is running. As soon as it will reach to deploy, it will stop and it will ask for a review, like because production is only get deployed after approval, because we put here in production case we attached here environment production, and for that we put the environment level restriction. Without approval it will not deploy. So you can see this action is at running, and that is relevant to deploy to dev. I'm showing parallelly, so we will get finish demo quickly. This deploy to production, you can see like unit testing is done and all test cases passes. But if you see here, it is stopped because it is request your review to deploy to prod. So whatever user in environment level, you have set different users, like I and Almir have this access for approving. So until these users don't approve this, it will not get deployed to production. Okay, so even those users will also get email, like those users will get email. You can see like I get this email recently. So deploy to prod is waiting for your review. So those reviewer will get this email, and they are able to go jump into that particular pipeline, and they can review and deploy. So as soon as they approve and deploy, it will deploy to production. So that is approval process. And so this approval process will trigger now. Okay, so you can see like the deployment is now running because it is approved by reviewer. And also this deployment to dev is also done. So if you see here in SAM deployment, it will have at the end some API endpoint. So that is API endpoint is running. Okay, I'm not going much detail into the APIs thing, but I'm going to show you the deployment things. So here you can see like this new SAM CICD demo dev stack is created, and as a part of this stack, there are 3 Lambda function also created. Yeah, so these 3 Lambda function also created, and also API gateway things created. So this way we are able to deploy to dev on pull request merge, as well as deploy to production after review approval. Those kind of things we are able to easily do quickly able to do with the GitHub Actions. So this is end-to-end demonstration. And another thing is like if you want to, there are a lot of actions available in the marketplace. If you see that there are so in GitHub Action marketplace, there are a lot of action available. You can see like this, there are a lot of different action available relevant to security scanning, relevant to monitoring, relevant to CICD stuff. So even you are able to do any kind of third party. AWS is also providing many actions for deploying to ECS or deploying to many actions. Even you are able to create your own actions. Okay, so say for example, if you want to create some custom thing, so this is just demo regarding that custom action demo. So here I just simply put one custom action. So that is just a basic demo perspective, considering the time constraint. So this custom action demo here, I just put a basic things like this is a custom action demo, means I am creating my own custom action, okay, by using JavaScript. So here I am put this event workflow dispatch manually. So it is manually option. And I just hello world jobs will trigger, and as soon as I will run this workflow manually, it will trigger this hello world job. And in this job, I already created here one manual workflow so I am using that my own workflow. You can see like my repository hello world JavaScript action, and I am passing greetings name, my name. So this is the input parameter we are passing, and that workflow, this custom action will give a output parameter. So at the end we are getting these steps, hello and ID, this outputs giving a time. So these steps, hello, the ID and outputs of this particular steps, we are using time from that. So this is a custom GitHub action I created, and that we are able to run it. So if we see the custom action, here is the code for custom action. So in custom action, whenever if you want to implement any custom action by using JavaScript, you need to mainly first create this action.yml file. This action.yml file you need to specify like what are the inputs. Here you can see who greet, so that is the input parameter. We are just setting like required things and default things, and what is the output we want from this particular action. So we are outputting time and we are inputting who to greet. This is just a simple demo perspective, and we are run using Node.js 16. Okay, and that will run this particular file index.js. So whatever logic, main logic you want to run, that is inside index.js. So these are two main library. There are GitHub Action already providing us a SDK and many ready to use library to implement a custom GitHub Actions. So these are core. One important library is the Action Core and like Action GitHub. So this core library just to get like get a context input and output things, and this GitHub Action library is for getting SDKs for just doing any GitHub API operation. Like if you want to say, for example, someone doing pull request and you want to labeling those pull requests properly, so you are able to do GitHub API operation as well by giving a GitHub token in the input or kind of things. So you can see like in this workflow we are passing input who to greet, and we are calling this repository. So that is this same repository within a my name, and we are passing here who to greet. So here we are getting this parameter by using this library like get input who to greet. So we are getting that value, and at the end we are out, like after that we are outputting this core library set output time. So that will be available here, like we are getting step hello output time, so that will be available in the output. So here like this is just a simple demo, but you are able to do any kind of third party or GitHub operation, and you are able to implement complex things as well. So same way by JavaScript, this is a custom action, but you are able to do same thing by Docker as well, container Docker things. So this is so if you run this workflow, let me run it quickly. So it will greet the my name, because whatever name I am passing here, it will greet just those things. So I am running this custom action demo. It will quick only. So it is triggering hello world. You can see like hello world jobs, and within a hello words there are few steps. Like we have this hello world action step, and we have this get the output time. So in hello world action step we are greetings like in our code base we are greeting hello XYZ. So if we see in the code level in actions, like here we are doing the console log hello and whatever name we are passing in who to greet, so that we are passing here. So that is displaying here, and same way like in output we are giving time. So that will be in another step. That time we are whatever output parameter we are displaying, the time was in GMT. So like step hello output times, and that we are sending in the core set output. Same way we are able to do like GitHub API operation, many complex operation and all those things, and third party operation and many things. So GitHub Action give us a flexibility to implement anything. So that's it from my side for a demo perspective. Let me call Almir to give a demo about a code pipeline, how it's work like this.
Okay, thank you very much, David. That was great as usual. So let's go ahead now and talk about code pipeline. So the demo that I'm about to show is exactly the same as what James just presented you. So I'm going to use the same code base, and since he already showed you the stuff like creating PR and merging stuff, and those kind of source control and GitHub Git and the GitHub thing. So I'm not going to show that, because those pipelines are already triggered by his PRs, and they are already executed. So what I'm going to show you now is how do you set up infrastructure with when you need a code pipeline. So you have several options to do this. So you can have a you can use like a CodeStar, for example, which I mentioned a little bit earlier. So here earlier I created this CodeStar demo webinar. This basically deploys Alexa skill. So you have your code ready. You have your repository already set up, and you have your pipeline already set. So and as you can see, the whole process of building Alexa skill here is visualized. So what happens here? We have a source, and this source comes from the GitHub, and then there is a build step, and it utilizes code build, and then there is a deploy step, and this one actually has two actions, which I mentioned earlier that it's possible to have two actions, and this deploy stage actually utilizing CloudFormation. So we have two steps where we are generating two actions. First one, we are generating a change set, and in another one, we are just executing that change set. And if you want to quickly create your project and the pipeline, you can do so by going to Codestar, and here you can create your project. So from here, you can select any template you like. As you can see, there is a pagination, so there are plenty of projects here. So I hope that you will find something for yourself. So for example, there is a Node.js project that runs serverless, which is pretty common today. Then there is a Python project, and you can even choose from any of those available here. So if you need a jumpstart, just use a CodeStar to generate everything for you. If you need quick start, I suggest you to utilize this service. However, I'm not sure about the future of it. I know that AWS is not like a Google; it's not shutting down services, just like that. So it's not gonna shut down anytime soon. But I can't tell you about the future intentions from AWS side. Are they going to develop this further, or are they going to leave it just as it is until everyone give up? But this is something to take into the consideration. So let's go back to our code pipeline. So this, as you can see, this is very nice visualized. So we have you saw with the CodeStar project that we have like different stages, and in the code pipeline, I want to show you this production deployment. So we have a source stage, and here we have GitHub source as a source action. So whenever something happens on our target branch, this action will be triggered. So as you can see here, Jamie created a PR and merged pull request into the develop branch, and then he merged this into the main branch, and that is what triggered this section. And then we moved to unit testing stage, and here we are utilizing code build, and here we can obviously see the log in the code build, what happened here, and I will show you that. So here you can see that tests are passing. So in our build stage, we utilized code build to run the tests, and since this is a production pipeline, here code pipeline expects us to approve this change. So as you can see, the pipeline is in progress, but that just means that this approval is pending. So here you can review the change, and you can either reject it and it's not going to be deployed, or you can happily approve it and say, I don't know, this looks good to me, and yeah, let's push it to the production. So now our pipeline is going to be to move to the next stage, because you see the latest release was 1 day ago, and now since we approved it, we are moving to the production, and there is not much to be seen here. This will just deploy our API the same way GitHub Actions deployed this to the account in the question. So I will show you how you can set up this pipeline. So I will try to make this a little bit faster, so we are not so we don't take too much of your time because next presentations are also waiting. So here we have two stacks. So we can generate our code pipeline with directly from the AWS console. We can use SDK. We can use CDK like we are doing here in this demo.
I'm here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to jump in. I think you have a little bit more time than you said, so don't feel free to take your time with it. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. So okay, let's talk about with a little more talk about this with a little bit more details. So here, as I described earlier in the presentation, we wanted to have continuous deployment to our development stage. So whenever something is whenever you push some changes to the dev branch, it needs to be deployed to the development environment. So as I said, so in the next slide we are going to talk about why to use code pipeline, but in order to one of the things is this setup flexibility. So this it's up to you what works best for you, obviously. So either use that Codestar for the jumpstart, or maybe you are a fan of the Terraform, so feel free to use Terraform to generate pipeline, or you can use raw CloudFormation, or you can do it old-fashioned way in the console, or you can use a CDK. Here I'm going to show you how we define this pipeline. So we need several things for our SAM deployment. So we want to use S3 bucket for our deployment. It is requirement. So you need to upload your template to some bucket in order to be deployed. So here I'm creating S3 bucket with the CDK, and setting up some common parameters like the bucket name, and I'm giving it resource name, CloudFormation resource name as a deployment bucket, obviously. And then I do have a removal policy destroy, because after this demo I will just destroy this stack, and I don't want to have this S3 bucket on my account anymore. And I don't want this bucket to be publicly accessible, so I want to make sure that public access has been restricted or blocked. And okay, so since this is the SAM prerequisite, we can now, and it's done, we can move to creating a pipeline. So with the CDK, we instantiate the new pipeline, and we giving it some meaningful name. And this meaningful name is obviously deploy SAM application to dev environment. And then we are here to define our stages. So we said that we have source stage, and we said that we have a unit test stage, and that we have a deploy stage. So obviously, if you have more complicated project, or you have more requirements, like for example the one that I show you for the creating Alexa skill, there you might have multiple actions per stage. In this case, we will have only one action per stage. So for our source stage, obviously we need a new artifact. So what this means is that once this source action is triggered, our action will produce artifact, and that artifact in this particular case is our source code. So we need to pass our source code to the next stage, and the next stage is the code build project that will accept that code and run the tests. And after that, if all goes well, we will move to the deployment stage. So let's define source action under the source stage. So how are we going to do that? So we are connecting our source stage with the we have created one action, and in that action we want to connect that action with the GitHub repository, and the action name will be GitHub development branch. So, I mean, you can put here whatever you want, whatever makes sense for you. The owner of the repository is serverless group. Obviously, this is the owner of the repository, and then the repository name is a webinar CICD. So this is exactly what we have here. That is the repository, and in order to connect to the GitHub, we will need to have some OAuth token. So once you generate this token in a GitHub, you have to keep it secret, and where we keep our secrets, obviously in a secrets manager. So I have this secret here, which I'm not going to tell you. So this is just for your reference, and I will use that. That token to authenticate myself against the GitHub repo. So I will be authorized to get the source code from there. So next thing to know is on which branch this action will be triggered. So we are going to be this is going to be triggered by any change on the develop branch. You can go a little bit into a little bit more details and fine grain this trigger. So in this case, it will be triggered by any change on when it happens on the repo on this particular branch, and then as a result, we are producing the new artifact, which we will pass to our next stage, which we defined earlier, and that is our unit test stage. And in this stage now we are ready to add action to the stage. So here in that stage we are creating action which will be connected to the code build project, and this is how we define code build. Obviously this project constructor comes from the AWS CDK library. You can find it under the code build. You have this code completion with the TypeScript. So the reason why I'm using the typed language here, and in this case it's TypeScript, but you can use any supported languages, any language supported by CDK as you like. So I'm creating a code build action. And as I mentioned earlier, so in order to configure code build, you need to create a build spec YAML file. So that file you can, if you are creating, for example, if you are creating this code build manually in the AWS console, you can enter these commands there in the console. You can provide build spec file. You can even use a different name for the file if that makes you happy. But here I'm defining this as this build spec file as a JSON object, and as you can see, I'm providing a version, and you can look into the documentation. So basically, there are only two versions. There is an initial 0.1, and then there is this 0.2 version of the build spec file, and it's just additional features has been added to this to the specification. So I have my phases here, and under the phases I have install phase. So what am I doing here? I have a runtime version, which is a Node.js 14, and obviously I can have multiple runtime environments. For me, it's the only requirement is Node.js 14, so I don't need to do anything else. Here in the commands, I'm listing any so I will install any tool that I need for my deployment. So because I got the source code and it is Node.js project, I need to install dependencies. So I will just run npm install, and this second command is not actually required here. I'm just putting it as because AWS sends CLI is available. So this will just install some CLI, and that's for our install stage because we are deploying SEM application, and we are moving then to the next phase, which is a build phase. So yeah, the name is a little bit tricky because we are not building anything. We are actually deploying and we're actually running the tests here in this phase. So I'm just executing npm run tests, and here in the package JSON, obviously you see that we are using jest, and it's just the example project from the default example project. When you run some init, you will you can just have this same project as we are using it here, and with test already pre-configured. So I'm just running this. Not that I'm running the test. I'm running the test script. This is actually development dependency. So yeah. So so the command here will run the tests, and after everything is done, we are moving to the post-build phase. And here I will just basically log that build has been completed, and this is the environment variable date saying build completed is on that timestamp. And here the test dev action actually is so we are assigning the name to the action. We are assigning the build project, and this is the build project, and the input is actually output from the source stage. Hopefully this makes sense. So this is the once again this is the code build action that receives source code as an input from the previous stage. We are using this test dev project with this specification that will install dependencies and run the tests, and this is just the action name, which can be anything you like, but hopefully you will put something meaningful there. Then we actually have deployment project. So this is again code build, and this is a next stage after tests. So if tests are not passing, we are never going to reach the deployment stage. If the tests are passing, we reach this deployment stage, and this is a different code build project. And here we have again our specification. So pretty much the same as previous steps. Commands are a little bit different in the build phase, because here I'm doing some logs saying, okay, this build started on this day, on this time, and I'm building some application with the build command, sam build, and then once that is ready, we are actually moving to the deployment. So here I'm deploying the application, and this is exactly the same that you saw on the GitHub Actions. And once that is done, we are moving to the post-build phase. You can do some cleanup here. You can do stuff that you might need to do after the successful deployments. You can also because of the integrations, because of the integration with other services. So you can integrate SNS, SQS. You might trigger some stuff, with the Lambda hooks that will after the successful deployment. So having SNS and having the Lambda integration, you can basically do anything you like. So it's up to you how you're going to use it. The most important thing is that you can. So, and also one thing that I haven't mentioned is the environment configuration. So here I'm using a Linux build image, and it's a standard Ubuntu image. You can find in the AWS documentation which environments are accessible, and you can bring your own container. You can bring your own build environment if you need anything specific, if the standard environment doesn't fit your needs. So you can find in standard images, you can find Ubuntu images, or you can find Amazon Linux images, or as I said, you can bring your own container. And after that, so this is the important thing. So with the GitHub Actions, you had some you use the AWS credentials stored on the GitHub repo under the secrets, and permissions are closely related to those key pair. So if you want to do some changes in the permissions, so your user which deploys the application to the environment, you will again you can't do that on the GitHub Actions. You need to go to AWS and manage your policies on the AWS anyway. So here, I haven't assigned administrator. So people usually do like, okay, now go ahead and deploy this as an administrator, and your keys will have administrator privilege. So the best practice is to actually fine-grain your permission and to apply least privilege principle. And that being said, what I'm doing here, I'm creating a new policy statement, and I'm adding policies that are required only to deploy the application. So not more, not less. So I'm giving access to the CloudFormation, to certain actions, to the S3, Lambda, because we are deploying Lambda function, and we are also deploying DynamoDB, and we are deploying API gateway, and we also need to update some policies in the Lambda execution rule. So you will need to have these kind of thing here. So, and once we define those actions, we are assigning those policies, and we are limiting those policies only to certain resources. So we are fine-graining our policies. We don't want our deployment user to have access to everything. Hopefully nobody will ever get access to the keys, but if something goes wrong, we are reducing blast radius. So this is like it will be limited only to these resources, and the hacker will not be able to do more damage than to access the resources that are part of this stack. And once we did that, we are adding our policy. We are adding our policy to the deployment role, and then we are defining code build action. And we say that our project is deploy dev project, and that's the one where we defined all these policies. And then we are using source dev output as input to this section. And then we're just giving some meaningful name, which means deploy to development. And now we add, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Now just jumping into like a flag that probably got like maybe 10 minutes left before we get ready for the next presentation. If you want to wrap up, and then we can get into like Q&A.
Okay. I will wrap up this in 2-3 minutes. So we are adding these actions to source stage. We add this source action. To the test stage, we add the test action. To the deployment stage, we add this build dev action. And then on the production stack, we have pretty much the same thing, with the one important difference, and that is that we are creating a role, basically a role that will have administrator access. And what this means here, that we are granting manual approval only to the user who has the administrator privilege. So if you are a developer, if you are a user, or you have less than administrator, if you don't have this administrator access, you will not be able to approve deployment to the production, which is the important thing. So with that being said, and because of the time constraint, I will stop here. I already show you how to approve it, and we are going to move to the next slide. And Jamit has its own ready, I guess, and he's going to tell us why GitHub Action rocks. So let's go with that.
Yeah, great. Let me share my screen again and jumping into that particular point. So as we already see, demo and things are very easy to set up with the GitHub Actions, and that is a developer perspective. So it is a great developer experience if you are new to the CI/CD, and if you want to quickly build your CI/CD pipeline, GitHub Action is your option. Okay, so it will give a great developer experience. You need to just add one YML file and you are done. It is also fast growing CI/CD launch in a few years back, and having your even work in open source market, like whenever your code hosted on GitHub Actions very quickly. There are also, if we see the free plan, it is always free for public repository, and also like for a GitHub free plan for a private repository, they are giving 2000 build minutes. So that is good for anyone to getting started, even no cost for pipeline compared to the code pipeline if we see. So this is easily any developer easily able to start by using these things. If we see the pricing criteria, this also there are nice action marketplace available, and a lot of community members sharing their custom actions. So that is easily able to integrate with any public cloud provider like GCP or Azure or anyone. If we are able to do any kind of workflow, even we are able to send email on particular action failure or any kind of things we are able to implement through custom actions or by using action which is already implemented, built within a GitHub. So that is good. Like your actions, everything, like all the workflow visible properly within your GitHub UI. So that would be a awesome developer experience comparatively. It is supporting all the different platform, Linux, Windows, and Mac OS. So you have a good build testing platform, and you are able to create your own runner as well. There are multiple workflow templates already available. So that is also one plus point, like you are able to do any kind of things like code security or monitoring things or your CI/CD things, and many different operations. And there is a strong integration with third-party tools and cloud providers. So that is good things, like they are giving also good kind of settings like environment level settings. There is a organization level settings, environment level settings, as well as repository level settings for a secret storing and all those things, well organized, considering the different third-party integrations. So like code pipeline is stick with the AWS ecosystem, but this will be flexible to integrate with any kind of third-party tools and cloud providers. So they are also giving setting accordingly to manage the secrets and all those things, environment level, organization level, or repository level. So that is good thing. Also, that is supporting multi-containers, like you are able to easily deploy by using container, Docker, and all those things. Like you are easily able to deploy through container theme system as well, comparatively. Okay. So this is just all points I just want to highlight. And now Almir will talk about why the code pipeline will be.
Yeah. Okay. Can you share the presentation for me? Okay. Thanks.
Sure. Let me see.
Okay, so why to use code pipeline compared to GitHub Actions? So before I tell that, I saw the question in a chat asking about if something goes wrong, what happens? So what happens is that you can how to notify user. So I think Jamie already covered with the GitHub Actions, and I also mentioned that you have SNS on the AWS side, so you can basically you can send the notification to you. You can trigger Lambda. You can send SMS. You can send a push notification. You can to your mobile phone, or you can send an email. So that's you can notify and wake somebody if something goes wrong. So that's, I hope that answers that question.
Yeah, GitHub Action. Sorry to interrupt. GitHub Action also giving a default notification whenever any workflow fails. For individual projects, but if you have a multiple team working, then you are able to use some directives based on some jobs fails. You are able to use some custom action and able to send email or within a Slack integration kind of things you are able to do with the action.
Okay. Okay, so back to why to use code pipeline. So as Jamie already explained, with the GitHub Actions, you have that jump start. So you can just start and create your create your YAML template, and then you are good to go, which is fine for the simple projects, and most of the projects probably can work with that. But if you want to follow best practices, and if you have more complicated project, and specifically if you are working with the AWS, strong integration, which gives strong integration with AWS services is what gives code pipeline advantage. So why? Because security, you do your security with using IAM. So you can follow least privilege principle, which I show you in the demo. So you can do fine-grained policies for your deployments, and then you can do user-specific privilege, like for the approval stage for a different reviews. You can utilize IAM to do that. You can probably do similar thing with the GitHub Actions by juggling with the keys, or maybe creating custom actions. But this is actually built into the code pipeline ecosystem. So that is a great thing to have. So when you need to rotate your keys, again, we have a little bit of struggle. Just note that everything you can do with probably everything that you can do with the code pipeline, you can do with the GitHub Actions, but there are some things that are easier to do using one than another. So definitely the simplicity in starting a project is probably give comparative advantage to the GitHub Actions. But for the code pipeline, if you are okay with a little bit coding and effort, you can make it more secure. And so we are coming to the point where we want to rotate our keys, because we don't want to have we don't want to have this we don't want to have these same keys forever, and we can use secrets manager, we can use lambda functions and services to rotate those keys. Then our build artifacts are encrypted by default, and that obviously can't be a bad thing. So for this, as it comes for the setup flexibility, I already mentioned that you can go to the console, and then you can just click around and put and configure your environment, and you can fine grain your environment with the settings you like. But if you want even more flexibility, you can use tools like Terraform or CDK. And if you are really good with the CloudFormation, and you want to suffer, then you can set up the environment with the CloudFormation. Of course, you can do it with the code by utilizing SDK, but you will probably end up by using some kind of the abstraction over the CloudFormation. So as it comes to the different environments, so there are prepackaged environments, which I mentioned, like Ubuntu Linux container or Amazon Linux, or you can bring your own container, and then you can use that to customize that build environment for your specific project, especially if you are using some kind of language that is not JavaScript, so and requires some special build process. So it is a feature rich, and I mentioned when we started the talk that one thing that I like the most with the AWS Developer Tools, and specifically about this Code Deploy service, is that gradual deployments are supported out of the box, and there is a great integration with the SAM. So simply by adding a resource to because we didn't have much time, I haven't shown you, but you will find in the where to go next, in the next slide, you will find some useful links which you can visit. There are some articles that we wrote about how to do gradual deployments with the how to do gradual and the canary deployments with the Code Deploy. It's a built-in feature, and if you have something, if you need that, you will probably want to use Code Deploy integrated with the Code Pipeline. So it's not limited to GitHub to AWS services, so you can use source from a code commit, GitHub, Bitbucket, ECR, S3, whichever makes you happy, or whichever fits your workflow. So and the one thing that is not part of this talk is obviously that you can use Code Deploy to deploy stuff you can deploy EC2 fleets, you can deploy containers, you can even use Code Deploy to deploy on premise. And when it comes to this cross-cloud hybrid solution, that's not something I recommend. You can use Code Pipeline with that. But if you are working on the Azure, I will probably recommend you to use Azure pipelines instead of having GitHub Actions there or using AWS Code Pipeline there. So specifically working on serverless, working on the AWS, and if you need security and flexibility, I would go with the I would invest a little bit more effort, but I would go with the code pipeline. And finally, you have these Lambda hooks, and you know that when you have event that triggers your Lambda, you can basically do everything. So whatever comes to your mind. So and that's about it. Those are the things that I would like to emphasize with the code pipeline. Why I think it's a better fit for certain use cases. Obviously, it's so James here represented the GitHub Actions part, and it's up to you to decide which one better fits your needs. So if you need a jumpstart, if you need flexibility, if you need security, it's up to you to decide. But the most important thing is that you have a choice, and you can use whatever better fits your project. So that's about it from my side. As I mentioned, we have this where to go next slide, and this here you can find some useful links to the, and the presentation will be available for download. You can find the source code for this, and then you can see some articles for the gradual deployments, and you can find articles how to set up things and how to use GitHub Actions, how to deploy stuff with the code deploy. And that being said, thank you very much for attending. If you, I don't know, do we have time for a Q&A session? And Jamie, if you want to add something else.
All good, yeah. Thanks, sir.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, thanks so much, Amir and Jamie. That was a fantastic breakdown. I think the recording is going to be something that people want to go back and definitely watch, and we'll make sure to clip it up and put it on YouTube so that everyone can kind of go through it at their own pace too. Because I feel like y'all jumped into code, into like the smallest details, and like anybody that's thinking about using, even building a CICD is probably going to find this like super useful versus like something that's just like very high level and just gives like a general idea for what it does. Y'all went into like the raw, like deepest level of all this stuff. So